All right, meeting come to order. I need to read this before we actually go in, and I turn over everything to the superintendent. Pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.125 and per the declaration from Governor Abbott calling a state of emergency, we hereby invoke the emergency board meeting protocol. We have a trustee participating in the regular board meeting of March 17, 2020 remotely. Now I'll turn everything over to our superintendent.
Yeah, so we, I'd like to go, Ms. Garza Lopez, can you hear us okay?
Hang on, just texting me.
So it's the first time we've ever done this, so we're going to take a moment before we go to our feet.
She said I can see y'all working on sound. She sees us, but I don't think she can hear us.
It got the virus.
Too soon.
In fact, that's probably the carrier all along. We better watch it.
She's asking, can we hear her? Yolanda?
She does see us, so.
Yeah, she says I can see y'all working on sound.
She's asking if she can hear. Well, she can see, and she can call in, call her this one, and she can talk to you here.
Okay, so you're gonna call her? You're gonna call her on?
I can call, you have the number right there? I got it. Let's go. Where would this place be? This side?
Yeah, we can put her here by me. She's my friend. I'll just go like this. Mute. That's enough.
Want to check it?
Am I supposed to call her, or are you calling her?
Well, it's still bidding up right now.
Okay. I have her phone number. It's 21, oh, you want me to write it down? Tell her to answer so she don't think it's a telemarketer.
Hello? Hello?
Ms. Garza, can you hear us?
Can you hear us, Yolanda?
Yeah, I can hear y'all.
Okay.
And I can see y'all too.
Very good.
All right, the next thing on the agenda is the invocation and pledge.
Wait, Mike.
Hold on. Can we just, Mr. President, Ms. Garza Lopez, we invoked
Sorry.
government section to hold an emergency meeting, which allows us to conduct this remotely, which you have chosen to do because of the state of emergency the governor called. Can you just confirm that you are doing this meeting remotely from your home?
Yes, sir. I am Yolanda Garza Lopez and I will be participating via teleconference.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm sorry, sir.
Go ahead.
So, up first, I'd like to introduce Mr. Roger Campos. He's going to read the invocation and he's going to lead us in our pledge of allegiance.
Thank you, sir. Everybody bow your heads. Father, thank you for every seat that's been filled here today and at home. For each mind and heart that fills the presence of this room, we thank you. This is a difficult time in our nation, but we are able to come together as a district to continue to work for the success and safety of our school community. We have an idea, a vision, and daily instructions. We have talents, abilities, and a time to work. However, only you can see in perfect detail the end of every beginning. Bless this meeting today, all those present, as well as the lives of those we will encounter afterward. Ready us to make every moment count. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
The
States
United States of America,
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thank you, Mr. Campos. Before we get to our first item, I just want to make a note to the board. Here this evening, just to let you know, we did that. Normally, have a lobby full of guests. We've asked a number of folks to stay late enough to have specific information about the agenda items here tonight to participate in social distancing. We're doing this meeting because we posted it prior to leaving for spring break. And we know that we walk into a different type of world post-spring break. The thinking is moving forward that most likely, and we'll be planning this together, are going to remote board meetings in April and May as this thing progresses and escalates as we're being told and recommended that it may so do. So I just want to put that on notice that we're able to do this remotely because of the state of emergency in the state, but it may look a little different as we get to April as well. Before I forget that point, I want to make that point to everyone. Now we can.
All right, the next thing is recognitions. Oh, we wasn't going to have any recognitions. Has anybody signed up to talk tonight?
Yes, sir. Mr. Peter now.
Okay, Pete.
I'll make it quick, sir. President of board, superintendent, all the board of trustees. I'm here to, in the wake of the circumstances of the pandemic, I'm here to, as people know, as a candidate of the office of Southwest Board of Trustees, hereby withdraw my candidacy from the Southwest ISD board election. The election was supposed to be held in Bexar County on May 2nd, 2020. That's just my statement. Due to the pandemic and going door to door and having to, I think in the wake, I have my most admirable trust to my board members right now, so I withdraw at this time. Thank you.
Okay, Pete, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next thing is a consent agenda. Board members, you had it in front of you. Are there any questions? If they're not, I need a motion.
Can I make a comment there, sir? We respectfully request to remove item E from consent agenda, which is the student trips, overnight trips. We think they are a moot point. I don't want to send mixed messaging, so we would ask the recommendation to accept consent with removal of item E.
Okay, here that, I'll make a motion to amend the consent agenda by removing item D.
I second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
And I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as amended.
A second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Mr. President, could we also ask we had an addendum to this meeting since it was posted prior to spring break, and we've had some other things come up. There's a resolution that I'd like Mr. Brandon Chris to be able to cover addendum number 1.
Yes, sir.
This is gonna be for board action. We're gonna ask for a resolution delegating, authority to the superintendent to act in place of the board of trustees during an emergency closure. I'll cover some of the stipulations. This is all from DEA local and legal policy. In light of the COVID-19, pandemic, we're gonna ask the board to, turn some authority over to the superintendent. Some of the things that we're going to be asking the board to let the superintendent decide, decisions regarding payment of employees. Part of the local allows employees to continue getting wages, as this school closure and this pandemic, the do the determination of how long this will last and when we come back to work. That is the first piece that we're asking that the board allow, local to be put in place so that we can continue to pay our employees. The other piece of this requires a premium pay for employees that are, clerical hourly, professional staff. So as we require them to come in during this time period, that we're paying them, 1.5 times, their hourly rate. This allows the equity when we have employees sitting idle at home versus ones that we're requiring to come in. That's kind of one of the first, authority that we're at, to allow the superintendent to take over. The other is to look at the 1920 school calendar as we have to make choices, allow the superintendent the authority to decide some of those. If we need to seek any waivers from TEA, as we go forward, also, and kind of the last is as we move forward through the next couple of weeks, if we have any major emergencies where we have to make purchases over $50,000, this will allow the superintendent to make those approvals without having to come to the board for those authorities. So the key to this is to continue paying our employees as we're during this crisis, and at the same time pay premium wages to those employees that are being asked to serve our students, whether it's through the child nutrition department or facilities and maintenance, and that's what we're asking the board to approve. So the recommendation is that the board approves the resolution delegating authority to the superintendent to act in place of the board of trustees during the emergency closure.
Mr. Chris, this resolution will be temporary during the time of the closure.
Yes. Once the closure is uplifted, we'll back to normal business practices.
Questions?
I move.
Is it
I
one,
second.
is it one resolution?
It's one resolution, yes, sir,
One.
it covers everything.
Yolanda seconds.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carried. All right, moving on down to items of information, construction.
We have no construction updates tonight.
All right, tax report.
Tax report, we are down 1% compared to where we were last year.
All right, financial report, investment, gifts, enrollment report. Y'all stop me if you have questions. Purchases over 50,000, calendar of event. CASTEM.
This was a trip that was being planned. I believe that this is an item that we're not going to discuss tonight.
All right. P-TECH, ECH update.
Yes, in the past, prior to all this other work that's going on, Southwest ISD has received designations as Furman College High School, for our high school, a P-TECH designation. And I think what we'd like to do is just provide an update for the board, to kind of give a high-level view of what PCHS looks like and our P-TECH designations look like. I know we have some planning to do, and we're starting to get into the planning. I don't think no one's worked on it since spring break, but you can understand why. But we'd like to, since it was an item, provide that information to the board.
Okay.
So
So we applied for and TEA granted the designation for Early College High School for our 2 comprehensive campuses, and then P-TECH designation for our CASTEM High School. For each of the 3 high schools, we did provide an academic and then also a CTE pathway. For CASTEM High School, we applied for engineering and AMT. For Southwest High School was the AS in health professions and the AAS in cybersecurity. And for Southwest Legacy was the AAT and the AAS also in cybersecurity. So we wanted to make sure that not only our students were earning up to 60 hours of college credit, but also earning level 1, level 2 certificates on their CTE pathway. Our next steps is we will be provided a TEA coach. The TEA coach, we are told right now preliminary will be the same person for P-TECH and for ECH, so we're not dealing with 2 different persons. It'll be the same individual is the tentative information that we are receiving. We did have a March 30th in-person training in Austin with all the newly designated P-TECH and early college high schools. That has been postponed, so we will be looking for more information online as it is being posted. After we do have a year, we do get to apply for a provisional early college high school. We do have to meet some benchmarks during the 4 years that we are in our journey to the first cohort of graduation. Right now, that was out for public comment, so there is a possibility that the benchmarks will be changing. So as soon as we get new information from TEA, then we'll go ahead and come back with an update to the board on the benchmarks. Okay. Also, what's next is we do have some upcoming meetings with our community colleges. We have to make a decision which community partner we will be working with for the pathways that were chosen. We'll also be meeting to look at the crosswalks for each of the pathways to make sure that our students are earning high school credit as well as college credit for the dual credit courses. So that's work that we have started, and we will be meeting with the IHEs, all IHEs here in San Antonio, to make the best decision and bring it back to the board to see which IHE will be partnering for early college, high school, and also P-TECH. And then we do have one more conference that is scheduled, June 12 and 13. They have not released if that's something that will be held virtually. So as soon as that information is brought to us, then we will give another update. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We did have also banners to present to the principals. This is something that they're very excited about. And as part of the work that we are looking forward to is also meeting up with our IHEs, our higher education partners. We had met with them previously, and we do have all of Alamo College's support along with Texas A&M as well, that they're very much welcoming this opportunity for them to be a part of.
Thank you. All right, the talent management and acquisition update.
Yeah, so a few months ago, the board approved for us in our division to hire someone to help us lead the work with talent management. And so what we wanted to do this board meeting is bring Dr. Leslie McClellan in to share with y'all all the work streams that are happening. And we're very excited about that because we're able to move work very fast with her on board. And so I'm going to turn it over to Leslie. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Verstiff, board members, and district leadership. I am really excited to share with you all of the work that we're currently undertaking within talent management and acquisition. Currently, we have, this is the wrong deck. I think you all have a deck that you were provided. This is the former deck. In your packet?
Yeah. Let me pull it up. Sorry about this, guys. Are you sure? Is the older one? No, that's not it. Hold on. Which one did you hit? This one? Is that it? Yes. This is the one.
Yes.
Sorry, we have it now. She just pulled up the wrong one. Sorry. There you go. There you go.
Sorry about that. Thank you. Currently, we have 17 work streams that we are undertaking. The work streams are, our role across each work stream is different. So some of these work streams we are overseeing and driving. Some we are progress monitoring, some we are facilitating, and some we are project managing. Today, our focus is to discuss 3 current work streams, which are our distributed leadership pilot, the evaluation pilot, and principal case week. Right now we have several campuses, 3, who are part of cohort 1 of our pilot for distributed leadership. Essentially what these campuses have undertaken over the past year is they've created a distributed leadership model that ensures that teachers are being supported. And they do this by creating different levels of growth opportunities so that all teachers are growing and developing, and they are providing coaching and feedback for all of their teachers through their administrative team. We have added several campuses. Through the first cohort, we have identified through progress monitoring that the 3 current campuses the teacher perception for their support is growing through this distributed leadership model. So we opened the floor up to other campuses to participate, and we have added 5 campuses. This current cohort we will continue to support as they progress through full implementation of the distributed leadership model. And with the 5 current cohort campuses, we're working on a differentiated, longer runway since it is more campuses. And so you'll see here we have a design phase that we've embarked on, and with the current state, we're still able to have Zoom conferences with the principals to continue the work, so we're not stopping the work. The learning phase will be from June to December, and then they will start their improvement phase in the spring. So at that point, we'll have 8 campuses on board through distributed leadership. These are the current cohort 2 campuses that are part of that work. The principal evaluation tool is a tool that was created by a committee using the leadership commitments and the behaviors related to the leadership commitments, having to do with leader of the organization for principals and leader of leaders for the assistant principals. So essentially this tool was created to move from a more compliant-based assessment to a coaching, growth, and development tool for principal supervisors to utilize with principals and for principals to utilize with their assistant principals. So the tool utilizes the leadership commitment behaviors and provides a timeline that, as you'll see here, really does create an ongoing reflection and supportive piece that has been missing from the past. So in the past, it was more compliance-based. You know, individuals were meeting with principals, or principals were meeting with their APs twice a year, or maybe 3 times a year. But and really the focus wasn't really on this core growth and development. So through this model, the tool has become a tool that supports growth and development while providing ongoing coaching and support. So you'll see here that there's this reflective piece around goal setting and performance reflection. The principals and the APs then design their goals. They define their 3 goals that they're going to drive towards, and then they're receiving ongoing coaching and support from their supervisor throughout the entire year to so we're ensuring that principals and APs are continuing to grow to be the best that they can be for our teachers and for our students. So essentially, the tool was developed, like I said, directly from the leadership commitments. So there's the tool that has been added to Strive. We have 3 current evaluation pilot campuses that are piloting the tool, as well as 2 distributed leadership campuses that are piloting the tool as well. And so Will Baker is driving the work with through the evaluation campuses, which are Sun Valley, Elm Creek, and McNair. And I'm driving the work with 2 distributed leadership campuses, which are Sky Harbor and Bob Hope. And so essentially what we do is we meet with principals weekly in a cadence of one-on-ones for coaching for their growth and development. And so we meet with them on their campus. Right now, these conversations are happening via Zoom. So again, continuity is very important. Principals need support right now, especially during this time. And so we're having these continuous conversations, working on their goals and ensuring that they're continuing to grow and develop. And then they're having those conversations with their APs. So the hope is that ultimately the board will approve the use of this tool as opposed to the TPES tool, because we really want to move from a compliance-based tool to a true coaching and development tool that really is going to grow others. Was there a question? Okay.
She was just agreeing.
Okay. So like I said, the instruments are now in Strive, and they are being utilized through the pilots. Are there any questions related to distributed leadership or evaluation?
Is this going to be a 1-year thing, and then you start with another group, or is this a continued thing?
So if you notice, she shared with you that we're trying to do better by piloting work and then scaling it. And so that's what we started with the distributed leadership. We piloted with 3 campuses, and now we're scaling it out to add 6 more campuses. Same thing with the evaluation instrument. We piloted with 3 campuses, then we're gonna scale up, to go district-wide with that next year. We don't need approval on that instrument tonight, we're just sharing with you the information. But one of probably the greatest thing that we've learned with our work with Goldsworth and having district support here is taking grand ideas and piloting it to make it work and get lots of feedback and input from all the stakeholders that are part of that work and that will have to implement that work before we take it and full scale that. And so that we're doing that with all of the work streams of the work. So eventually, yes, we want to go full scale, but right now we're taking and we're learning from the pilots that we're running throughout the organization.
Yolanda has a question.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
I have a question. I just need a clarification. Did you say that the evaluation tool was that, did the principals get to give feedback on that?
Correct. Yes, ma'am. There was a committee that was put together by Will Baker, and that committee utilized the leadership commitments and the behaviors associated with those. So the leadership commitments have behaviors associated with leader of self, leader of others, leader of leaders, and leader of the organization. And so the principal falls within the realm of leader of the organization, and the assistant principal falls within leader of leaders. And so essentially this group took those leadership behaviors and created a tool aligned to the behaviors and are using that tool as the evaluation piece. So it encompasses all of the leadership behaviors associated with the role of the individual.
And Yolanda, on the committee, there were 3 principals on that committee that were in the design of that instrument.
Okay, that was my next question. Was it all the principals or was it just a few? Okay, thank you.
Sure. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one, but does this mean that this tool will take the place of the old tool or the tool that the state has recommended, I think, and will there be, I expect then that there's not a lot of people that'll be using this tool. That's right. Does that cause any problem, do you think, when people come from other districts who have been used to a certain evaluation process and now they have a different one? What do you think about that?
Well, I think that's a great question. I think that the reality is that majority of districts, really what you see is a compliance-based evaluation system. And so, they have maybe 3 conversations over the entire year and then they never see their evaluator again. And so utilizing this tool that aligns to the leadership commitments that the district really participated in creating, and it really was a district effort to create these behaviors associated to what the district really is looking for in a Southwest ISD employee. It makes it even that more purposeful, because ultimately when we have individuals that want to come and work here, we want them to aspire to be all of the things and all of the behaviors that we describe in the leadership commitments. And so through this tool and adding the coaching and ongoing support piece, I think is key, because it's something that's lacking, and it's something that principals are saying, I really feel supported now because I'm having this ongoing conversation and cadence, and you're really intentionally developing me instead of kind of following this more compliance-based piece.
I don't know this for sure, but it might be that particularly experienced administrators who at a high level may need some work with how this tool is going to work, because they may well think that they're going to be utilizing the other one and have in their mind what they need to do.
Yes, of course. And so that's a great question. And so we have a plan in place that if this does come to fruition and we scale district-wide, that we have training in place to develop our current principals, our current APs, utilizing this tool and giving them ongoing support along the way.
That's great.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say that I think that it's really next level what we're doing here with these evaluations. I really like the path that y'all are taking with this.
If I could share just a bit, I work with both Will and Adrian and Leslie, who are part of the pilots with both evaluations, depending on what model. And the feedback that we're getting from those principals is exceptional. They finally feel like, and I'm going to put this out there timidly, is they can take risk and they can really think outside the box and think creatively about their work right now, because they know that they have someone right there that's coaching them along the way. Because the meetings in the distributed leadership pilot actually happen weekly. They don't happen just once a month. And the work that's coming out of both Bob Pope and Sky Harbor right now is pretty phenomenal with the planning for next year. And so I think that we're going to see some great changes in the district as a result of what we're doing here.
Okay.
Okay, the last piece that I'm going to talk with you about today is this case week piece, which is through progress monitoring that we've done through all of the current pilots that we have working. We've identified 3 core development areas that really we need to focus on for our principals. And so this is data-driven decision-making, plans and executes and reflects, and innovates and drives change. So these areas of focus were identified through progress monitoring and assessment of pilot goals. And so essentially, we are in the process of creating what is called Case Week, and this is the aspirational framework. So we believe at Talent Management that we think of principal support through this 70-20-10 model, and so we really do aspire for this framework to grow our principals. And so by that I mean 10% of formal learning, because we know that anything beyond that, people are going to get bored, they're going to get disengaged, and they're going to tune out. So 10% of formal learning, 20% of peer interactions, collaborative interactions, network interactions, and then 70% of job embedded on-the-job experiences. And so through the collaboration of division leaders, Dalila, Dr. Faye, and Brandon, we've created a 4-day case week that we will take our current principals through in June. And the hope is that, hopefully we'll be able to have it on those 4 days. But if not, it will move forward at some point. But essentially, the principals are going to come in, they're going to get 10% of learning on that first day, and it's all going to be related to strategic planning, how to look at their data, how to make decisions related to their data, and how do they begin to plan for the next year and really identify 3 goals that are going to drive for success, right? And how are they going to progress monitor that? And so they're going to be placed with, Dalila has done a great job of identifying someone who's going to come in and give them that learning piece around strategic planning. And so at that point, we're going to give principals a case, and we're going to tell them, we're going to give them a problem using current school data, and we're going to say, now you need to go and solve this problem. And so we're going to give them time to go solve this problem with peers. Then they're going to come back the next day, and we're going to kind of throw a wrench in it, and we're going to say, now we're going to add a layer of complexity. And so that's where business and finance comes in. And so they're going to start talking about, okay, well, so you've got this problem, you've got this data. Now, how are you going to use that data to drive change using your federal and compensatory funds? So what does that mean, and how do we ensure that campuses really are truly intentionally planning for their spending and not reactively spending, right? And so his team will come in, they'll present formal learning, and then we'll send this pod of principals out again to continue their process. Then they will come back and they will present to district leaders through a Q&A panel. And so that's where we're going to drive further questions and really get them to dig deep, because we know that this is a habit. This is not something that you create overnight. This is a muscle you need to develop. These are pieces that you need to, a little hand holding, some facilitation, and you need to continue building that muscle for strategic planning and for how to use your budget. And so we're going to have them present, then AHR is going to come in, they're going to throw in another ethics violation to it as well, and because that's what principals have daily, yearly. They have a lot of things that happen. They need to be able to strategically plan and solve and intentionally do the things that they need to do for equitable student outcomes. And so this is Case Week. This is core development that we're really focused on, because the reality is that we need to intentionally plan for our principals so that we are truly developing and growing them, because we know that principals are the second most important classroom teachers for student success. And so we want to ensure that every principal on every campus that we have in Southwest ISD is the best principal they can be for our teachers and for our kids. And so that is the plan and the goal behind Principal Case Week, which we are very excited about. And that's about it. Do y'all have any questions?
Yolanda, you have a question?
No, I'm good, thank you.
She's good.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Joanne,
All right, the potential partnership with A&M.
she's on employment?
Yes, sir, this is a continued conversation,
Yeah.
That we've been having over, more than a few months, about partnership, potential partnership with Texas A&M. We are coming up to a critical deadline, March 31st for application. We fully expect that deadline can be pushed down the road, which is gonna give us more time. But since we have this agenda item, we wanted to kind of bring the board up to speed. So we presented what our objectives were the last time. What were those arenas that we, with this partnership, expected to see move, that, on your behalf, if we were to do a performance contract with our higher education entity like CUSA. And today, we're going to bring more conversation about what we're hearing from Texas A&M, their design team, I believe working with the Southwest ISD design team. We're not asking for anything other than just providing additional information. We do anticipate that the application deadline will be
Can I just ask real quick, are they still discussing the tuition?
Promise tuition?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
For Southwest ISD graduates.
Mm-hmm.
They have been discussing it. My understanding of that permission from Dr. Shapiro to share this. They have been talking about it, he piloted it. His response to me was, since we would have a stronger, deeper, more meaningful partnership, it would make sense that we start with Southwest to pilot that before we have more schools on.
Both high schools? Awesome.
In 2 years, 3.
I just have one more question. What if they don't extend the deadline?
If they don't extend the deadline, we would be posting an emergency meeting in the next 2 to 3.
Okay.
I know I heard from TEA, they indicated they were.
Okay.
I just didn't know what it would be.
Okay.
Aya, what did Lloyd say about the deadline?
He said they anticipate it to be moved, that's what he's hearing from TEA. If they don't move it, then he'll call an emergency board meeting so we can decide.
Thank you.
So we want to look back at the innovation proposal that both A&M and in conversations with Mr. Guidry, the design teams from both Southwest and A&M, really looking at what their proposal would look like. So what they are proposing to us is Impact, which is really going to focus on mentorship for our teachers and also for our students, looking at some of the services that A&M offers for their students and including these wraparound services in addition to what we offer at Southwest Legacy. They also want to really embed technology. That's a big piece in the different pathways that our students are choosing. So no matter if they're in CTE or if they're in early college, always embed that technology piece as they are looking at instruction. So we'll look at the framework, what it looks like, but then also looking at the rigor in the classes. What they're also proposing is a TSI bridge for our students, really focusing on those sections of the TSAI that are giving our students some problems and really having a targeted plan to really help them over the summer. In addition, these services will extend throughout the year where students would be enrolled in a class that would also provide TSI support for our students. In addition, they're also proposing teaming, to which we would have 3 or 4 teachers like in a pod that would serve as the same teachers. There would be planning time for them to really look at that 9th grade experience. We know that we do have some dropouts that go from 8th to 9th. So to really support our 9th graders is working with these teachers, providing planning for these teachers. So where they're doing cross-curricular planning, not only for their own subject area, but really having conversations. You know, student A in my class is having a really difficult time, but I see has an A in your class. What are you doing to support the students? So having those conversations to make sure that our students are being successful. Also, for students who are not opting to do the early college high school route, they are proposing a 10th and 11th grade humanities course. That is a ELAR social studies cross that is really going to focus on culturally relevant texts. Our Director of Teaching and Learning and our ELAR coordinator spent some time this year really looking at the libraries at the high school to make sure that these libraries were updated. So A&M would come in and support that to make sure that the culturally relevant texts would continue from grade level to grade level. In addition, they're also proposing that all students, early college, high school, CTE courses, just like we have mentorships and we have externships with CTE programs, that students in 9th through 12th grade also be accountable for some service learning hours. So if they were in 9th grade, they would be asked to complete 9 hours, 10th, 11 hours, and when they get to 12th grade, 12 hours. And then going back to their framework, everything that they are proposing is really going back to the critical literacy, the rigor in the classroom, the content literacy, that cross-curricular work, the digital literacy to make sure that our students are current with any new technology that is coming up, and then artistic literacy for our fine arts students to make sure that we are really targeting the whole child and not just focusing on one area. So this is what they are proposing for Legacy High School, the support that they would provide. They do have a faculty adjunct professor that would be housed at Legacy High School and would be teaching half-time at Legacy and also providing professional development to our teachers to really support that dual credit pipeline.
This is the next kind of step, natural step. So we've asked these 6 objectives, and this is the response from Lucia Design Team. And now our design team has come together and do a presentation to another committee before we actually come to the board to kind of work out some of the issues or what does that look like. And I know in our conversations with Lucia, I think Delila and your team have been engaged with A&M at a much higher level than I have. Dr. Shapiro, when I talk about performance contracts, they're going to bring more specific things about what does a bridge look like, how do we get rigor in the class, how do we use the additional funds to master content, master teachers in the classroom. And, you know, when we look at our data of students choosing college compared to those around us, we definitely can improve in that area. When we look at our average scale, SAT, ACT, compared to those around us, we definitely can improve in that area. There are a lot of great things. Those 2 areas, those are 2 areas that we know we can stand for improvement, and we think for the higher education, that would be the best course of action in the less amount of time to get our students there. So we had that conversation around it when, you know, the flag level of law is, and I think what we all kind of come down to is it seems to be a rigor issue. I'm really excited about Lucia really kind of putting the focus around rigor and around literacy. Because those are 2 things that we definitely can see a change in those 2 areas of, and then more kids choosing college. Not that we want all kids, we'd like more kids to choose college.
That's it.
What we'll do is take that committee, package this together, then come to information presentation before we formally come to the board to ask for any action. So when we know deadline changes, we'll get that information out there.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
Yolanda, you have questions?
No, ma'am, I'm good.
She's good.
And then just our goal is to have 100% of students TSI tested by 10th grade as we're matriculating through the grade levels. Yes. And then we also did have Mr. Guidry, his academic leadership team, also MCL's present, so A&M had an opportunity to talk to them and ask them firsthand, what do you need, how can we support? So they've been at the table throughout these conversations. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, the next thing is superintendent. We're gonna have an executive session.
I believe I posted an addendum to the meeting, which was an update on letter M.
Yes or no? We are or not?
We are having executive session.
Yes, we are, I'm sorry. I didn't hear that.
All right, going on, we'll postpone that, going into item 8, the scholarship committee.
Good evening, board members. So for the last few years, I've had the opportunity to bring you a list of students that the scholarship committee recommends receive scholarships from the Southwest ISD Scholarship Committee. So you have that list in front of you in a small packet there. So you'll see 125 students listed. You'll see what their essay scores were that the judges who scored their essays wrote down next to them. And so then we kind of force ranked them from highest to lowest. So these are the 125 students that we have from both Southwest Legacy and Southwest High School who applied and were awarded a scholarship. The next piece of information that you have on there are, there's a spot at the top here that kind of outlines some dollars that we have to set aside already. And so some of that money is put aside for tax, title, and license on the 2 car giveaways that we do. And then some additional funds are being put aside for what we call the Snap and Share Scholarship, where there's 10 $500 scholarships at Southwest Legacy and 10 at Southwest High School, where students are basically turning in a copy of their award letter, whether it's a scholarship or from the award packet from the university or college, that they then submit, and that's going to go into a drawing for 10 students at each high school. So that's some additional funds that these students can get, and it'll be 10 drawings of $500 a scholarship each. And then what you have are the award distribution kind of suggestions that we kind of came up with given the dollars that we had in this year. So this year we had $206,000 available for students and scholarships. It's a little bit more than we've had in the past. We've rolled over some dollars from previous years from some of the cohorts when students didn't take advantage of some of those dollars, and so we put those dollars into this big pot this year. So you'll see we had more money. So these are the distribution options that the committee had to pick from. So you'll see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different options. And the option that the scholarship committee went, if you turn it all the way to the back there, was option G.
Option G.
It's at the very end of that next side.
Wow, that's awesome.
And so this is a little bit different from what we've done in the past. And so you'll see there's 4 options in this one. We traditionally go with 3. Since we had more dollars to give away this year, we came up with these options. And this is the one that the committee selected. Now, they were very adamant about really wanting to reward our kids who really took those essay options seriously and really wrote some good essays, and wanted to award those students for putting that work into it. And as you guys know, a lot of the scholarships that our students apply to at the university level or even through foundations, a lot of those go to that essay, and that is the deciding factor. And so while all the other variables are the same when it comes to eligibility and attendance and all of the other pieces that we asked them for, this is the one variable that they absolutely control. And this is what so we had 3 teachers at Southwest High School score, 3 teachers at Southwest Legacy score. They didn't only score their students, they scored all of the students. And then we took those scores and accumulated them into that average that you see next to the student names. And so the last sheet I included on there was just so we have had some change over time. I wanted you to see who is still on that scholarship committee. And these are all the folks who are on that committee.
May I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
How could I have voted no when I didn't go to a meeting all year?
Oh, no, that just means that you're not a voting member.
Not a voting member.
Oh.
That's not that you voted no. No, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I was wondering how I could vote no. My right arm is getting kind of sore.
Go ahead, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Why did we decide to put that money back
here, why couldn't we just put it in the general fund for distribution overall? I just don't understand.
I know the last time we had a discussion on it, we had said that we were gonna roll the dollars back into the scholarship fund. And I remember that's the last thing that we spoke about.
This is about the third year we've done this. So the general fund and the scholarship fund are separate funds already. In our endowment, we always make sure that we stay at the endowment that we said we were. And we take the dollars that we get in from waste management and improve our investments for that specific fund. So we always put it towards the scholarship fund. So the last cohort, what we've done over the last 2 years, is the last cohort that comes off the books, whatever, because that's a liability on our books. And once that cohort's done, that 5 years is up, that money's freed up in that liability. So we've been taking that and adding it to the total. So like, normally we have about 125,000, and over, so like the last 2 years, it's probably been 20 to 40,000 extra that we've been putting on there. With some of these cohorts, unfortunately, didn't spend the funds like the previous one, so there was a little bit more money available.
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying is why couldn't it go back into the scholarship general fund?
I think because once it becomes scholarship
They have to
money,
use it every year or what?
Well, you get 5 years to use it, that's part of the guidance.
No, I understand that. What I'm talking about us, we have to use the funds that we designate per year, every year, so, right, I mean, every year, this is just.
Since the inception, once the account reached $1 million balance, that's always been that that's what the threshold is. So we keep going down throughout the input. But since we started, we used to give out 3 scholarships back in the beginning, right? So because the board wanted to get it up to $1 million endowment, it was self-sufficient. But up until that point, we've always done 90% of what we earned from Corral Gardens, the interest, and then about 4 years ago, we started building after the 5th year, it goes back into more scholarship. And the idea is to put money in the sweet plan to go to college.
So does after the 5th year, it revert back into the following year's scholarship funds? Is that what you're saying?
Next year, there'll be another 5th year.
Yes. So because what we have to do for liability case, all these scholarships that we have open for these 5 years, we have to keep that funding, it's a liability, so we have to keep it on the books, so we can't spend that fund. As soon as that year is up, it gets to go back. Previously, it would go back into the scholarship fund, and we were ended up filling our endowment way above the $1 million that we try to keep it. And then, since we have it in a good place, we're still drawing really good interest, and we're able to get still the gains from waste management. We've been able to add more to the actual pot to give out every year.
did we turn in each other anywhere?
No, sir.
Is that the same amount that we usually get every year, the same amount of students? I don't recall.
So each year it's gone, so since 2010, we've had anywhere between 120 to about 165 kids. Last year was the exception. We wound up with about 240 kids when we first opened it up to Southwest Legacy. This year we did have less students. Part of that. Right. So part of that reason.
We're not offering more students the opportunity, or maybe we need to, maybe I don't know if they go by the scores, or their grade level.
They have to meet the attendance criteria and stuff, and then they have to fill out the essay.
And
I know they extended the deadline to try to get more people and announced it.
I think the one of the factors this year was the album product coming out. Students think their seat, basically the last dollar scholarship. So whether they get this scholarship or not, as long as they've done the FAFSA and Texas, they're still covered.
Right.
It would still be a good idea to help promote it more, and to help students understand that it's in addition to whatever it is else that they receive.
And we did, Ms. Bernal, this year. So normally at the end, we pull kind of a data sheet where we're like, okay, these kids have qualified, and the counselors are really good about going and go knocking on their door and saying, hey, look, we need you to apply. This year, unfortunately, they were tied up with the transcript piece and some other duties that they were doing, and so it slowed that process down a little bit for us. And so, of course, we'll get better at it again next year and get back to those kids. But they didn't make that third and fourth push that they normally do to go grab those other kids and really kind of force them to apply.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So what does the distribution look like between Legacy and Southwest?
So it was 63 students from Southwest High School and 62 students from Southwest Legacy.
Nice.
So it's about as even as we could get it.
What do you think? What do you think, Ida?
It's 63 from the
Southwest High School,
Dragons
yes.
and 62 from the Titans.
Oh, that's great. Perfect.
I still recommend that we do something to make sure that everyone is at more students.
They do that all the time. All the counselors go to the English classes.
They didn't do lists.
But,
or they did it in
but,
previous years.
yeah, but, I mean, I think the high schools do a really good job. It's just that some kids, they just don't want to apply.
Right.
And if you have to push them so much to apply, they're probably not gonna use it. They're probably applying just because they're made to use it, and then they're not even gonna go to college, so it kind of works out that the,
Ye-
We hear the other side of the concept that we actually physically don't fill them out.
yeah.
Sometimes they need to do it that way. So there's another example that says, the guys are really pushing us to kind of force them to do these. We should offer the opportunity. I give them some.
I mean, I like reminding them. I like providing the time for them to do it, but I just think if you have to force somebody to apply for something, odds are they're not gonna use it. If they really want the scholarship, they're gonna apply. It's not like they just get one notice like on a
Right.
sign in the hallway. So I think we've been getting better and better as far as the number of kids that apply, right?
And like I said, this is, we didn't have a chance to make that third and fourth and fifth push as much as
Right.
we would have liked to, but there was a big initial push. The
Yeah.
first and the second one, the counselors meeting with the kids and getting that, and so, we may have not done as much on that back end that we normally do and apply some more, but we can't keep extending that deadline for
No,
them.
and it might be that the reason we're having so much money left over the fifth year is because the people that are applying have no intention of using it. We're just making them apply. So,
Part of what, a couple of years ago, when I was heavily involved, we had this big push for, we want everybody to apply. There was a camp out there that suggested that we need more people to just apply, and to the point of, were kids actually using those monies, and I think we could always go back and prove that, yeah, a large masses of them did, but there's gonna be a camp of kids that just don't use it. And what we were doing to get those numbers higher, we were asking English teachers to make it a requirement. So one of the things that's happened now is that we don't have all kids in an English classroom during this time. And so there are some seniors who were not in an English classroom during this time, which is gonna limit the number of kids that are being exposed to that at the time that it's available. And so I think we're always gonna have two camps. And so, we'll get more direction from our board, take that to the committee, and then keep getting better as we go. But I think they do it.
yeah, and we might, I don't know if you do it already, but you might consider putting banners up in the cafeteria, because everybody goes to cafeteria.
Definitely.
And then they can just see it, or, that somewhere, just to remind them.
Everybody in favor of distributing it this way?
We have to have a motion, right?
Well, that's what I'm asking.
So moved.
I second. Oh.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Pardon me.
Thank you, board members.
Motion passed. Also, if you'll look on item 6M, it will be at the end of the items of information. You just got it passed out.
Do you want to do that now, or do you?
Well, it's just gonna fall in the items of information. All they have to do is look at it.
Actually, we wanted to kind of give an update. I think it may be.
Go ahead.
Under one more thing, after we get done with the.
Oh, that's one of your one more things?
Yes, could it be?
I thought we already had about 15 one more things.
I think so, there's nothing going on, so.
Oh, okay. Going into business and financing, the documents for Southwest Elementary.
Yes, Southwest, it's actually gonna be for all the elementary gyms. This is for the HVAC and the re-roof projects that we're trying to get out for bid. So we're asking the board to approve the construction documents and the delivery method, which will be sealed, competitive seal proposal, is criteria is listed there. This project's listed at $14.5 million, from the 28 combined funds. We wanna move forward with, documents and the delivery method. So we're
So move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. All right, construction documents on Southwest, Middle School track.
Similar to the previous project, we're asking the board to approve the construction documents and the delivery method for the middle school track project. We are going to go off a competitive bid proposal, criteria is listed. This project's listed at $2.2 million in the 2018 bond funds, and we're asking the board for approval of the construction documents and the delivery method for the middle school track project.
So move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carried. All right, the National School Lunch Program.
Yes, sir. Back in June, we applied for a grant under the National School Lunch Program for a new serving line at Southwest Elementary. And Mr. Gatlin and the Child Nutrition Department was awarded the grant. And so we're asking the board, we actually went out to our, the five board meeting to get bids. We're going with the lowest bid vendor, which is going to be A Smart to replace the serving line at Southwest Elementary. So we're asking the board to approve the grant and also the purchase of the survey line for Southwest Elementary.
So move.
A second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carried. Now going back to item 4 or item 1 on Dr. Verstoff's 10
Yes, sir.
items of information.
Thank you for your flexibility. This is the
Is
item
that
we
the
had
word
on,
for it?
We thought it would be important to get an update of where we are. I know that we try to communicate back to the board through text, email, other means, but this gives us an opportunity to kind of maybe answer any questions you may have. I can tell you what we know in the state of Texas with this national pandemic that's coming statewide, that we hear a lot of information from national, from state, from local health entities. And we also have someone that we lean on a lot in our midst. And I'm going to ask her to say a few words about the COVID-19, the coronavirus, here in a few minutes about what we're doing, how we're trying to get information out to our kids. It's important for us to know. At this time, yesterday, and I'm sure it's changed, I know it's already changed, but yesterday, according to the TPA website that we have, it's called COVID-19 Guidance Advisory website, there were 56 confirmed cases in the state of Texas, over 17 counties. They are expecting that to just increase exponentially over time. I participate in traditional education, daily briefs at 3 p.m. We're constantly working with other local Bear County ISDs in our decision-making matrix and what's everyone doing. I can tell you at the end of all these conversations, we're all doing different things, but the tenet of what we're doing is the commonality and the common denominator of everything. And so I'd like to ask Ms. Maldonado, she would come up. And this one came in, Valerie, she's been really great in this, that we brought our principals together on the first day, had our conversations around what's important, because it's about answering to them the why. Why is this going on? Why are we doing this? She does that really, really well. So, I'm going to let Valerie cover kind of the health aspects of it, the solutions, where we're at. I'd like to ask Maria to cover our instructional delivery, because we do not plan to stop teaching or learning. We plan to continue that. It's going to look different than it ever has before that we understand it. And ask Mr. Chris if he would cover some of the aspects on child nutrition and what we're doing there. I know I shared numbers with the trustees today. I think we're adding more campuses, and we can kind of cover that. As Dr. Faye, Jesse, if they want to cover anything that has to do with our staff, what we're looking at. We meet daily as a SCOOP committee called the Southwest Continuity of Operations Plan. It's kind of our guiding guardrail of decision making for us. And so this is new, so we know that whatever we're doing, it can't be that wrong because it's new. What we're doing for the first time, we're know we can do better, but we haven't done it before. And so we know we're gonna make mistakes, and we're learning from them. I can tell you, based on what I know, in a really, pretty great spot, depending on where we are, in this world of what's happening, to support our kids and making sure, that we're keeping them safe and well-being with and with them. And that's what's important to us right now. You may have heard the governor, again, for All-Star, and of course testing, which is great. We haven't even given the second thought yet, before you counsel this, but, testing's not gonna be an issue. They will remove that. And we're really expecting this to be, kind of elevated, escalated into the, our situation, health situation in the state of Texas. So let me turn it over to Val, and let her go, and tell us a little bit
Well,
about.
before she starts, I just want to say I pick on you all the time, but I can't imagine having the pressure of 14,000 students and all the employees that you have to worry about right now. It would just be an ungodly job that I can't imagine. And then you could work your way up to the governor and the president now. It's just ungodly.
Well, we have godly people, so,
Mount-
that's what we're fortunate. We have really good people here at Southwest, and that's what makes it all kind of doable here. Thank you, Wilson.
And all that goes to you too.
I appreciate that. What I really want to talk to you all about is the whole reason we're doing this. It's not so much a school district issue. It's a community, state, national issue. It really is at this point. So as Dr. Verster had said, we have so many cases and we know they're rising. We now have 5 confirmed cases, 4 travel related of COVID-19. One is still under investigation, last I heard. But ultimately, we want to minimize the risk of exposure, right? And we want to help to prevent the spread, especially to our vulnerable populations like our elderly and those with underlying health conditions. Because what happens as a result is if we have a large influx of illness that require our healthcare resources, then those resources are really overwhelmed and overburdened with the amount of sick people that we have. And it's kind of a trickle effect, right? Then we can't take care of all of those people. More people get sick, and we can't take care of those as a result of COVID-19. And not only those, we can't take care of those who need those resources otherwise, those who don't have COVID-19. So it really is a societal issue that we need to help address and prevent the spread to the best of our ability. So that's why we have to do social distancing. We want to make sure that people are taking care to, again, just mitigate and stop that spread of illness. We have done a great job, I think, of pushing out, prevention methods, washing your hands, not touching your face, cough and sneeze into your elbow, staying home when you're sick and keeping that 6-foot distance. So it really has been a team effort here in the district to ensure that we continue to educate our kids to the best of our ability, and not only educate, but also feed them. So I really want to commend the whole team in working to help our students, because ultimately that's what it's about, making sure that our students are safe and healthy. Any questions for me?
Thank you. Really, all your whole administration for all your hard work.
And so our instructional delivery, our kids still need to learn, and our teachers still need to teach, and so, Leo's gonna cover that aspect, if you have any questions.
Yeah, so with the direction of Dr. Versta, the Friday before we left on spring break, we were able to meet and have our low-tech plan ready. And what that means is that we were ready with 3 weeks of lessons that have been already copied and distributed to the campuses. And those lessons are going to be ready to be distributed to the homes when they pick them up this coming Thursday and Friday. So what we've also done is today we posted this before noontime. We posted for the community that we will also have the devices for the high-tech plan. And essentially our plan is for everybody to go online. That is what we are really pushing for, and we're really hoping that every single community, every single parent in our community comes by and picks up a device. We have enough devices for every single student. We also have pushed out through this website. If the students click on this link, it'll take them directly to where the students would go and find their work. So we have already met with the principals. We have already set some clear expectations for the teachers that although they are at home, they can remotely log on to Google Classroom. They can also go through Zoom or even through right now what we're experiencing with Google Hangout as one of our board members joins us in this meeting. So we have different platforms where the students can access the teachers and also the teachers through new curriculum that is being disseminated throughout the weeks to come, that the teachers can still continue moving through the scope and sequence to where teaching and learning is still continuing. So that is our hope for our school district, and that is what we feel really good about because the principals have jumped on board. The principals are going to be the ones holding the teachers accountable with providing whatever resources. We are opening up the campuses tomorrow for the teachers to come in and pick up their materials or resources, their laptops, whatever they need in order for them to go back home and create these learning platforms in their own comfort of their home and creating some remote experiences for the students.
So, your people created this curriculum, or were these curriculums that were part of some system, or?
The 3-week lessons, we went ahead and used the leaders on the campuses. So we went ahead and really quickly, and this was just on Friday, Dr. Russell said we need this plan done. And so we went ahead and used the academic coaches, which are the leaders on every elementary, the MCLs, academic deans. So we used all the district resources, the district leaders. And by 4 o'clock, everybody was assigned a grade level in the content, and we had enough to where from pre-K all the way to 12th grade, there's packets that are going home.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yes, I mean, I was just like, so just to say, we should be feeling really proud of the work that happened and with the leaders that we have in our district.
So,
are kids being told they have to, or they can?
We will continue following the grading process and grading our students towards promotion to the next grade or towards the 10th grade. It is a communication.
And is our staff, our teachers, are they being asked to be available during the day in case questions come up?
Our teachers are being compensated as if they were in the classroom while they're at home. And so there is an expectation that everyone participates
From home?
so do they have any time where they all get on at the same time?
Yes, so we created a framework, and this framework was created based on what the state gave us. The state was very specific to what the teachers had to be accountable and what the students had to continue doing. So based on that framework, we said that by 8:30, we wanted all the teachers to be posting a 15 to 30-minute lesson. And then they're gonna be doing 2 check-ins, a morning check-in and an afternoon check-in with the students. We also came back and told the principals that we wanna make sure that they make a phone contact, some sort of contact with the students on a weekly basis. For the teachers, that will have to be making this contact 3 times throughout the week. So we're asking for there to be continuity of communication, of instruction, and through all the different modals that we have, which is through Zoom, Google Hangouts, or if not, then Google Classroom.
And there's enough devices for every kid we've got.
Yes, and just with the help of Brandon, we also are ordering more hotspots to where, although AT&T and Spectrum have already said there's going to be free Wi-Fi, we still have some areas where that might not be a service that they get. But we do have some hotspots that are being already ordered, and that order is already in place. So we do have enough devices and enough equipment to be able to service our community.
It's amazing. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
Hey,
Someone had already called me and told me that Spectrum wasn't free, that it's advertising it's free, but there's something attached to that where it's not
Yes.
free.
So we went ahead and placed that in there because that's the links that we're receiving. I mean, we're getting also bombarded with everything that is free out there. But we have a bill, he's following up already of AT&T and Spectrum. And then the flip side is we already do have hotspots that the district also provides.
Yeah.
So we've got all those areas that we're trying to cover our bases to make sure that we're
Better
still
not
moving
cover
forward.
them too well, that might be doing this from now on.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
That was a great job.
Yeah, so, as most of you know, we opened up 6 sites this morning, for the lunch and breakfast program. We served this morning breakfast 470 students. At lunchtime, we served, 1,382 students, 6 sites. We also, in planning and preparation, we are moving to next week possibly to a one-time pickup where you can pick up your lunch and get tomorrow's breakfast. So today, we served 1,300 lunches, but we also gave away 641 breakfasts for tomorrow. We're doing that. We're trying to get in line. I think we have some partners across the city, other districts have done this to try to limit the amount of contact and how many times they got to come up for breakfast, for lunch. Obviously, you can see the lunch is a lot more popular than the breakfast times because breakfast times are pretty early. And so what we'll do is we'll provide a lunch, hot lunch, and then like a cold breakfast, a cereal or something for them for tomorrow. We're going to continue what we're doing right now, having lunch and breakfast this week. And we're also opening up Spicewood and Sun Valley as satellite sites. So at Bob Hope, we're going to make extra meals, and then we're going to have a group take them to Spicewood and set up a table there for a grab and go. We're using Medio Creek staff to make extra food to take to Sun Valley to set up a satellite there. And we'll just keep playing it by ear and seeing if we need to open more. These are pretty good numbers for the first day. We're expecting those to continue to increase. And we'll just keep going and hopefully serve our community. And kudos to the Child Nutrition Department for putting together this plan during the break and having this ready to go because it was pretty smooth. And a lot of people were very appreciative of it. As far as the rest of the operational, we are in phase one, what we consider phase one in our program. We have quite a few people on staff now. We've been working diligently throughout. As Rick was talking about going online, but we're talking about payroll clerks and accounting clerks and purchasing people and even our facilities, trying to figure out ways we can get them home and working from home. So we will probably look at phase two next week with a smaller scale group of people being at work as this continues, because we want to make sure that we're keeping all our employees safe as well, but also still serving our students. And so that'll be coming on, and we'll be continuing to look at that and evaluate that as well. So really, the food program is going great. We're looking to go to a one-stop shop next week where they come one time, get their lunch, and have a breakfast for tomorrow and serve the students.
Can I have
I have a question, Brandon.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
So, so I know the parents come up in the car to pick up their food. What are we doing with our employees so that they're, following this, protocols or something? Are they wearing gloves, or is it just hand to hand, or how are we mitigating the contact?
At every station, we have a hand sanitizing station, and at the same time, we are not letting them really out of their cars. We're walking up and handing them the bag, so we're not actually touching hand to hand or anything like that. So we're giving the bag to the person in the car, or if somebody walks up, like a student walks up, we're letting them grab the bag off the table.
Good.
So we're trying to keep that separation, and they're very cautious as well for their own safety. But we haven't had anybody really complain about. They kind of like the way it's going instead of them having to come in and fill people's trays or something like that. So
Absolutely. Okay.
Brandon, are all the other school districts doing this same thing?
I would say 100%. I haven't seen anybody. I've been we're part of a group that we've been communicating with other school districts, and I haven't really heard of any school district that's not trying to serve their students breakfast and lunch. We fortunately, because of our EcoDisc, we are almost 100% reimbursable. We are navigating those rules right now, and we may be forced to run in the red, which we would have to obviously come to the board for fund balance to cover this, but we want to make it as safe as possible and make sure we can feed as many kids as possible. I will tell you that we've been talking to distributors. The first thing that kind of happened to us is distributors found out we're closing schools, and so they started to cut back. And we were telling them that don't cut back. We need milk and bread. We're still going to be buying food and all the things that we need for our campuses. And so I think that across the board, I think almost every campus, I know in Door County, is doing some kind of lunch and breakfast program.
What about the charter schools?
I don't really communicate with them as much.
They don't have cafeterias. They don't have cafeterias.
I think today, the one I did today, they are doing it.
Well, it's an interesting question then.
I've seen on social media all of the school districts doing something, everyone, but I've never seen anything. I haven't seen anything on charter schools yet. Maybe I'm not.
It's a good reason to go to a public school.
Right.
I will tell the board this, we're invoking the summer feeding program, that's what we've been allowed to do. So any student in the city of San Antonio and Bexar County can come to one of our sites and get food. The same thing goes for our kids, if they went to Northside or to South San, or nobody's gonna turn any kids away. So that's just a part of the program. So we'll get reimbursed if we fed 50 kids from Minnesota that showed up tomorrow.
Okay. Good job.
Thank you, ma'am. It was really fun.
I think of Brandon, Dorita, Jeff Powell, and everybody.
Yes.
Everybody's on board. We have a lot of great.
Yep.
And that's not to say, you want to make any HR announcements?
Other than we will be, every employee will get paid. We are all trying to, Brandon and I talk frequently about even the skeletal crew that we have here. We really strongly start to believe it's too many. So we are actually piloting, I have quarantined 2 in my division because they have been in hot spots, and so they have not been back in the district. So we are actually currently working through online meetings throughout our day. We're creating ways to communicate with our principals better and more effectively so they're not getting 8 different emails from different places. But ultimately, I think we've had a really good response. Not a lot of questions coming in from the HR side once employees found out. We have put an FAQ out over the weekend to employees through district announcements. Most of those were regarding pay and leave and, because obviously we're in a panic and everybody's worried about that. Once we put out those fires, it's been pretty calm. And so we have just recently posted also an FAQ on the district website to answer the questions that were questioned more than once so that everybody has access to that information. But other than that, it's been relatively great. Matter of fact, people are begging to come back to work, which is kind of fun. No, you can't. So those are fun times for us, I think.
Yeah. I have a quick question. Have we thought about, or has the issue come up for any of our long-term subs, the ones that have been subbing for how they're real teachers and they sub for a few months while somebody's out or whatever?
So
are we doing anything about that?
In our 3 o'clock meeting today, that was brought up by Will Baker. So I have not taken that to senior staff yet, although we are getting calls from those individuals asking if they can go apply at HEB, and we are obviously saying yes,
Okay.
you can, right? But I will be bringing that question to senior staff in our next.
I just didn't know if they're considered a little different since, we ask them to be this sub for 6 months or whatever it is.
First thing is
Right.
I'll call legal, and then I'll ask other districts
Okay.
and how they're approaching those.
Yeah.
We want to make sure we take care of our employees as much as possible.
Okay.
But I have to make sure we stay within the legal.
Right, no, I didn't know if they were different than just the regular sub that is just coming in twice.
We've been
a month.
working through some of those.
Okay.
We've had others, and so this is one that, I didn't know what you were gonna bring. I didn't think about it, so that's okay.
Okay.
We didn't go through-
Well, I'm
It's
just
brought up
curious.
today by Will Baker, so-
Yeah, I mean,
we can
because,
look at the website.
Jack's had the same sub for 3 months now, and so, just curious.
Mr. Garcia has been leading the charge of communications and creating a cadence for, we want to be very simple in our communications. So he's done a really great job, and a lot of other companies just kind of putting this thing at her model on our
And so I'm sure you guys have received a lot of messaging on our part. So we've got information up and a whole page dedicated on the website for just the COVID-19. You're probably getting emails, remind messages, the robocalling. There's a little bit of all the messaging that's going out, and I'm sure you all have probably gotten some or part, if not all of that messaging. We'll continue to refresh it. There's a lot of things that we're trying to put up as it goes up. We also shared a link with the community to get questions from the community about concerns that they may have. Number one concern from the community right now is how do I access that curriculum? So we'll get that message back out again tomorrow and just make sure we keep getting it out to the community so they know that it's out there. They got to log on. If they need some assistance, then they can talk to us about what else they might need. And as far as technology and all of the meal information as well too, we're getting all that. As soon as we get it, we try to get it out there. We try not to saturate the feed with so much information at one time. We do want a little time for the community to kind of process that. And then after that, then we push out the next message with the next piece of information. And so any of you all who are on social media, you'll see as soon as we put out an announcement, you'll see it shared 60 and 70 times by other people, and that helps it get out to the masses when they do that. So that really helps us out a lot. But it's on the website. It's going through robocalls. It's on our social media. It's going out through Remind, and then the principals are doing some Remind messaging at their campus as well too. And so as soon as we get some more feedback we've got about 50 responses from the community right now, we'll put an FAQ together, another FAQ together for the community so that we can answer the questions or concerns that they might have as far as some of the issues that are coming up at their campuses. But everything has been 100 mile an hour, and as Brandon said, there's a lot of people kind of working in the background. Janice, Roger, who are back there doing a lot of things, website and social media, and so it really does take a lot of folks communicating here at this level so that we can get that message back out to the community in a really timely manner.
This is a very good story, and which really goes beyond our educational community. And the reason I bring that up is because there are people who don't think you can do this. Well, they're going to just send them home and play. They're not going to do anything. It's just a wasted period of time. Well, it sounds like it's not. From what all that's going on, is extremely impressive. So I'm suggesting maybe you find ways to tell this story beyond us.
Definitely. Yes, sir.
As Fair County ISD, we have committed to work together to send a similar message. We announced we're going to announce it in 2-week intervals so that we give our parents some leeway in their planning. The next announcement will come sometime between the week of March 25th. We do not expect to go beyond March 30th before announcing the next one. So we meet weekly, or actually daily almost by now. But after this week, we'll meet probably twice a week on Zoom. But we do not. We are setting a date to make the next decision so that we make it in time to give people time. So that's a little bit question.
That's the first thing people participate in, and we just say, well, it depends on the situation, we'll keep you updated.
Yeah. The commissioner said in the meeting today, the safe bet is to do what Dallas did, just say you're closing government. And you never have to, we don't want to do that because I think once you do that, you're basically saying you're closed for the year. We think that setting a conservative 2-week notice that we can work towards that. If we see what's going on in society and with this health situation we think is there, we'll make the next announcement in 2 more weeks. But yeah, it's fluid and it's confusing, and we're just gonna have to work through it together.
And I do know that there's some certain situations, special situations came out today. We had a situation today with a student who's quarantined in his home down the street. Unfortunately, they don't have any food. So we were able to work with Ms. Phelps to get them some food, deliver it, leave it on the porch, get them the device that they need so they can jump on and do homework. And so you really get to see kind of the spirit of our people go out and do some of these things above and beyond. And by all means, if you all hear of any students or families that's in that situation, please let me know. We'll rally the resources and make sure that we get what they need out to them.
Awesome.
Yes,
Can you text me your phone number?
Yes, ma'am.
Also appreciate all the ideas we got from the trustees. I know you guys are engaged and we're all have some really great ideas. So those of you who share, thank you.
All meetings like Band Booster, Miami Booster, they're all being canceled during the closure time. UIL, so we might want to, because I can open up the calendar and still see. Take them off or put an announcement.
So initially we took them off for this week because we knew we were closed. We just made that announcement today, so we'll be taking everything off for the next 2 weeks. And everything through May the 1st, unfortunately, including casino night, is basically postponed until this.
So the Relay for Life is postponed.
Cancel weddings.
We got a wedding too coming up.
When is your wedding?
June 13th.
It'll be cheaper, you only need to invite
10 people.
10 people. Have it in your backyard.
We're having a
You have one more thing, sir?
Yeah, I just want to thank senior staff and all of them. They're tremendous people. They're doing really great things. Our principals are just soldiers, administration. This place is about kids and what we do for kids and supporting our community. So I just want to say thank you to all of them.
I wanted to say that Juan Alvarado's wife, Mary, is very ill. And she's at Kindred Hospital. If you get a chance just to drop her a note, it would be helpful. She's very discouraged. And so is Juan, by the way. Do you know what her problem is? Yeah, okay. So anything you could do to cheer those people up?
In fact, if we send her flowers or something, it'd be nice, because it's bad. I think we need a little something comical, don't we? Yeah, did that clock get the virus?
Are we taking Yolanda into the
Yeah,
closed session also?
we're
Do
gonna
we
carry
need to
Yolanda
unplug?
into
What
the,
we'll do is we'll hang out, then we all, when we get there.
We have another one in there?
Yolanda, we'll carry you in there, okay?
Okay, do we hang up?
Yeah, you can, but not yet. Wait till Mike.
Let me read these crazy numbers.
Okay.
Under Government Code 551.001-551.146, we go into executive session. All right, we come back into regular session. I have not a clue what time it is because you didn't fix it. All right. We go back to the item of personnel, superintendent's
Recommendation on personnel.
Superintendent's recommendation on personnel,
I so move.
whatever it was. It's been a recommendation for superintendent's recommendation on personnel. It's been a motion for approval of the superintendent's recommendation of personnel and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
We already did that. Aye.
Let's go home.